Have you ever felt unsettled by someone's eyes before they even said anything wrong? You know that strange moment when a face looks normal, but the gaze feels completely off. Nothing dramatic happens, yet your body reacts like it noticed something your mind missed. Maybe they smiled politely, answered kindly, and still left you with a strange internal warning. You may have noticed this at work, on dates, in friendships, or during random conversations. The unsettling part is usually tiny, almost invisible, but your nervous system catches it immediately. A pause that lands too late, a stare that lasts too long, a smile without warmth. Most people dismiss those moments as awkwardness, shyness, stress, or just your imagination. But what feels strange is often not random at all because mismatch creates psychological friction. Your brain notices when words, timing, facial tension, and eye behavior stop matching each other. And that mismatch can feel unsettling long before you can explain why. The eyes matter because they reveal effort, hesitation, conflict, and attention in real time. They often leak the emotion a person is trying to smooth over. That is why a warm sentence can still feel cold when the gaze carries tension. You can sense something shift even if the words themselves sound completely harmless. And the real signal often appears before the explanation in your mind finally catches up. People sometimes think unsettling eye contact means deception, attraction, confidence, or social awkwardness. Sometimes it can, but those simple labels miss the most important part of the reaction. What unsettles you is not one signal, but tension between several signals arriving together. The eyes say one thing, the mouth says another, and the timing says something else. That contradiction creates a quiet alarm inside you, because humans are built to track consistency. You have probably felt this before in moments that looked perfectly ordinary on the surface. Someone agrees with you, yet their eyes harden for half a second. Someone laughs, but their gaze seems to disconnect from the room for one brief beat. Someone holds eye contact so steadily that it stops feeling open and starts feeling controlled. None of that guarantees danger, but it often signals effort, suppression, or emotional misalignment. And misalignment is exactly what the mind finds hard to relax around. We trust people fastest when their signals line up cleanly, without delay, strain, or contradiction. We tense up when expression and intention seem slightly out of sync. That is why the gaze can feel disturbing even when nothing openly threatening happens. The hidden layer is often emotional conflict, and the eyes struggle to hide conflict gracefully. Maybe they want to appear calm while feeling irritated, interested, embarrassed, threatened, or exposed. Maybe they are trying to manage how you see them, while their eyes keep revealing strain. Maybe they are holding back a reaction they did not expect themselves. When that happens, the face may stay composed, but the gaze starts telling on them. You notice it before words explain it, because your brain tracks timing faster than language. It reads the pause before the reply, the blink rate, and the sudden stillness. It notices when attention narrows for one topic and relaxes for everything else. It catches the small lag between the spoken response and the visible emotional one. That lag matters more than people realize, because delayed emotion often means internal editing happened. The first real-life pattern is the warm answer with missing eye contact. You ask something simple, they answer kindly, but their eyes slide away immediately. Most people assume they are just shy, distracted, or naturally uncomfortable with eye contact. And yes, sometimes that is exactly true, especially in nervous or overstimulating situations. But the strange part is usually the timing, not the lack of eye contact itself. If the gaze drops right when emotion enters, your mind notices selective avoidance. They may not be avoiding you, but avoiding what your questions stirred inside them. Embarrassment, guilt, attraction, resentment, or vulnerability can all pull the eyes away. The difference is that the words stay warm while the body quietly retreats. That is not proof of anything, but it is a clue worth storing. Especially if the same pattern returns whenever certain topics appear or intimacy starts increasing. The second pattern is the smile with distant eyes, and almost everyone has seen it. Someone reacts positively, but their eyes seem to leave the moment for a second. The smile is there, yet the presence is not fully there with it. People often assume that means fake friendliness, hidden dislike, or some kind of manipulation. Sometimes it does, but distance in the eyes often points to internal overload instead. A person can smile on cue while privately processing disappointment, jealousy, fear, or sudden self-consciousness. The face performs the social response while the eyes reveal divided attention. You feel unsettled because the emotion never fully arrives where the words suggest it should. That emotional split creates a weird distance, even at close range during ordinary interaction. And the deeper reaction is often quieter than the smile covering it. The third pattern is eye contact that lasts too long after a simple remark. You say something ordinary, maybe even harmless, and they keep looking a beat too long. Most people read that as confidence or strong interest because steady eye contact seems powerful. But long eye contact is not always openness, and sometimes it signals control or challenge. When the gaze lingers after the social moment should have released, tension starts building. That extra beat can mean they are evaluating you, resisting you, or holding back emotion. It can also mean they want you to feel watched, even without saying anything. That is why eye contact becomes unsettling when it stops feeling mutual and starts feeling strategic. The words may stay neutral, but the gaze keeps adding pressure you were never invited into. And pressure is often what your body reacts to first, before your thoughts form language. These moments matter because social trust is built from tiny, consistent signals. Attraction, comfort, suspicion, and respect often shift long before anyone says anything clear. In dating, you can feel chemistry disappear because the eyes stop agreeing with the smile. In friendships, you may sense resentment long before a conflict finally becomes verbal. At work, one strange look can tell you a conversation carried more tension than admitted. In families, emotional history often leaks through eyes faster than through words. That does not mean you should overread every glance or turn intuition into certainty. It means your discomfort may be based on something real, even if incomplete. What you felt was probably pattern detection, not paranoia, and that distinction matters. The useful question is not what does this mean exactly, but what keeps repeating. Notice when the gaze changes, what triggered it, and whether the person recovers naturally. Notice whether the delay appears around praise, criticism, intimacy, or direct accountability. Notice whether the face stays relaxed while the eyes suddenly tighten or freeze. Notice whether the person looks away casually or only when a certain truth gets close. Timing tells you more than the behavior alone, because emotion always reveals itself in sequence. A late smile, a delayed blink, or a held stare changes the meaning. So does sudden stillness, especially when the conversation touches identity, status, shame, or desire. Stillness can look calm, but sometimes it means the person is containing a reaction. And contained reactions often feel heavy, even when they stay silent behind a polite face. This is why some gazes feel less like connection and more like friction. Your mind is not just reading eyes, but comparing eyes against everything surrounding them. It is comparing tone, pace, posture, facial softness, and the order reactions arrive. That comparison happens fast, and usually outside conscious explanation, which is why it feels eerie. The eerie part is often accuracy without language, and people tend to ignore that. They tell themselves it meant nothing because nothing obvious happened, and then tension quietly returns. But subtle social signals shape nearly every relationship you have, especially the difficult ones. They affect who feels safe, who feels drawn in, and who keeps emotional distance. They affect who seems honest, who seems guarded, and who quietly shifts the room. And those judgments often begin with the eyes before logic has built a full story. The important part is staying observant without becoming suspicious of everyone around you. One glance alone proves almost nothing, because stress, fatigue, and personality all influence eye behavior. Context matters more than any isolated signal, and repeated patterns matter more than single moments. Clusters matter more than isolated reactions, because human meaning lives in combinations, not fragments. Repeated mismatch matters more than one nervous movement or one awkward pause. If the eyes, timing, and expression keep conflicting, pay attention without rushing to conclusions. If the pattern disappears once stress passes, it may have meant very little. Balanced perception is what makes these signals useful, because accuracy needs patience and pattern. The goal is not to decode people perfectly, but to notice when something deserves caution or curiosity, because some unsettling gazes reveal hidden attraction, shame, vulnerability, or unspoken conflict. Sometimes the unsettling look is about you, and sometimes it is about them. Sometimes it marks danger, but other times it marks emotional effort nobody fully controls. That is why the safest interpretation is usually tension, not certainty about motives. Tension is what leaks when words are trying too hard to stay clean. And the eyes often carry that leak first, before the rest of the face catches up. So when a gaze feels unsettling, do not dismiss yourself too quickly. You may be noticing emotional contradiction before the conversation becomes clear enough to name. You may be reading a delay, a hesitation, or a hidden reaction trying not to show. That does not make you paranoid, it makes you responsive to human inconsistency. And inconsistency is often where the truth starts peeking through, even before language joins it. You notice this in compliments that land oddly, apologies that feel polished, and promises that feel rehearsed. The strange part is rarely the sentence itself, but the emotional lag wrapped around it. A genuine response usually arrives together, with eyes, voice, and expression moving in the same direction. An unsettling response often arrives in pieces, as if the person edited one layer too late. You can sense the edit, even if you cannot explain what was removed. That sensitivity helps you spot unspoken discomfort before it turns into blame, distance, or withdrawal. It also helps you notice when someone is overwhelmed, not manipulative, and needs gentler attention. The same signal can mean concealment in one moment and vulnerability in another. That is why good perception is not harsh. It is precise, patient, and flexible. You are not trying to catch people. You are trying to understand the emotional weather. And the eyes are often where that weather changes first, before behavior becomes obvious. When you see the mismatch early, you can choose better questions, better boundaries, and better timing. That can protect trust, prevent misreads, and stop you from forcing false closeness. It can also keep you from ignoring the quiet discomfort your body keeps flagging. The strongest takeaway is simple, subtle reactions matter because they reveal tension words try hiding. But one moment never tells the whole story, and context still matters most. Watch for repetition, clusters, and the quiet mismatch between visible feeling and spoken meaning. That is where ordinary conversations start revealing extraordinary psychological detail most people never consciously notice. If this made you remember a strange look, that feeling probably had a reason. Novi Mind is here to help you understand the signals most people brush aside. Share one unsettling reaction you have noticed in real life because someone else has too. And if you want more psychology that sharpens perception without feeding paranoia, subscribe to Novi Mind. In the next video, we are getting into why some people sound calm while quietly controlling everything.